I'd like to call this subcommittee meeting of early childhood education to order. First on the docket, we're going to do can we take attendance, please? Open the rolls. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Great. All right. Thank you very much. We have a quorum. All right, first on our docket is going to be HB 2538. Delegate Belova.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Nice to see you. Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, before you is House Bill 2538. What this bill does is build on the work that this General Assembly has done over the last couple years with respect to the affordability and accessibility of early childhood education. Even more so, as a member of the Early Childhood Education Commission, what I'm really proud of is that we've done this in a very bipartisan manner, and that we haven't just focused on funding slots and increasing accessibility. We've really focused on making sure that those slots are actually quality, affordable childcare, and so that's been a really important part of our mission. If we're going to be putting public dollars into early childhood care, we want to make sure that parents can rely on the fact that those are actually quality child care. So last year, we made some very significant progress towards funding early childhood care and education. If you recall, we were kind of on the edge of a fiscal cliff where thousands of parents and children were going to lose their slots if we didn't step in. That was a big lift, and I was really proud of the General Assembly for stepping up to the plate to go ahead and do that. As part of that effort, we really also focused on how did we go about making sure that there was a more consistent way of being able to fund our system. And so that's important for parents, it's important for children, it's also important for providers if they're going to be making investments to ensure that they can rely on this reliable funding stream. So the bill before you today does three things to continue to advance our work. First, the bill builds off of a piece of legislation that we passed last year and that the governor signed into law, House Bill 419. This would help to establish a more predictive formula for handling for funding early childhood education based on parent demand. And so last year we took kind of a first step by having the department put out a report every November on the resources needed to maintain slots and expand slots. This bill increases the transparency and predictability of that process by directing the department to develop a formula that accounts for actual data from the prior year, unserved waiting lists, and then also a multiplier based on demand growth. And so it makes it more similar to the way that we fund K through 12 education by making it predictable and something people can rely on. The next thing the bill does is focus on the very strong connection between the availability of early childhood care and education and on economic development. More and more when businesses are coming into any place, they're going to look at the services that are available to support their workforce, and a really important part of that is the availability of early childhood care and education slots. And so to that end, what the bill does is direct the Department of Education to work with the Virginia Economic Development Partnership to identify slots needed to support upcoming economic development initiatives, identify opportunities to create public-private partnerships. This is actually a really important focus of that Early Childhood Care and Education Commission, is how do we get businesses to become partners in this and help stretch those state dollars, and also identify areas where there is a lack of early childhood care and where that lack of childhood care creates a barrier to economic development. Finally, the bill establishes an early childhood care and education fund. So a non-reverting fund is a really important mechanism to make sure that any unused funds, rather than getting swept into the general fund, actually go back into early childhood care and education. And actually the approach will allow us to better manage that funding over time and help us to ensure that we don't have spikes and valleys with respect to that funding. Again, it's meant to make sure that it's a more predictable approach. It's actually a concept that was passed out of this subcommittee last year. It was passed through appropriations. Unfortunately, the body down the hall at the last minute went ahead and pulled the rug out from under us, and so we're back to be able to assert the House position on that non-reverting fund. So anyways, Madam Chair, again, I'm very proud of the work that we've done. I think we do need to keep reminding ourselves that there are 10,000 children under 5 who are on that waiting list for early childhood education, and this hopefully will continue to push us in the direction of being able to provide that quality care for all of our children in the Commonwealth. So happy to take any questions. Don't know if she is here yet, but Kathy Glazer with the Virginia Early Childhood Foundation, who collaborated with me on this bill, can provide backup on any details that you might have.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from the committee? No questions? All right. Let's go ahead and speak any of those to speak in favor of the bill.
Good morning. Coming in just from the tundra. Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, very happy to speak in support of Delegate Belova's bill. It's really important. I know he outlined very carefully what's included, but I just want to talk about the practical implications of it. For us to have a more predictive formula to be able to understand what family demand will look like in coming years, this formula will really help us better plan for and not be caught by surprise. So hopefully we would not, again, have wait lists of 10 to 12,000 children sitting on the sidelines. It also would help us with a dedicated fund so that we can safeguard hard-won dollars that are meant for early childhood services and make sure that they're not swept back for other purposes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will say that since I know this bill, if it reports out, will have to be referred to appropriations. So next. Thank you. Welcome.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Emily Webb with the Virginia Chamber of Commerce. Delegate Belova did a great job kind of explaining the ramifications of this bill. One of the big things that he mentioned, as we're recruiting businesses to Virginia, workforce is their top priority, and access to early childhood falls with that. And so we're very supportive of this legislation, ensuring that there's that predictable funding so that families know the access that they're going to have to quality education. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Allison Gilbreth, Voices for Virginia's Children. We strongly support this bill. I've testified in this committee several times, and I just want to update you that I've now spent $100,000 on childcare in the past 7 years. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, my name is John Easter. I'm with Chamber RVA. Just wanted to emphasize or re-emphasize that the business community thinks that early childhood is so important to what we're trying to do, both for economic development, but also just for fully developing our citizens. Delegate did an awesome job explaining what the bill does, and it's very, consistent with what you did last year. So we certainly hope you'll support the bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Don't be shy. Y'all can scoot on up.
Good morning, Chad Stewart with the Virginia Education Association. Our kindergarten teachers are keenly aware and frequently comment that they see a big difference in students that attended high quality early childhood education. We see this bill as very much a logical and much needed upgrade to our early childhood funding system, and we appreciate the prioritization on childcare desert areas as well. We just want to note, so we appreciate the patron for bringing the bill.
Thank you very much. All right. Welcome.
Hi, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee. Emily O'Brien with Kemper Consulting on behalf of the Virginia Business Roundtable for Early Education. We also strongly support, the legislation. Thank Delegate Belova for bringing it forward. Our workforce in Virginia depends on a strong, quality, and accessible and affordable early childhood system. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Randy Pearson with Two Capitals Consulting here today on behalf of the Virginia Promise Partnership. We strongly support this bill, and as a father of 2 children under the age of 3, I strongly support child care as well, and so hope you will support the bill today, and thank Delegate Belova.
Thank you.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee. Ryan O'Toole with Freedom Virginia. We strongly support the bill, and as the delegate mentioned, would also urge you as this moves upstairs to consider clearing the wait list for the child care subsidy program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Madam Chair, member of Subcommittee. Matt Benedetti representing the Virginia Child Care Association. We're the private for-profit providers, and we support the bill.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I'm Ramon Cepeda Ramos with the Virginia Interfaith Center for Public Policy, and we're members of the Virginia Promise Partnership. We strongly support this bill. This is something that will help working families and their children so that children can learn and gain those skills early in life to succeed in school, and for parents to be able to work and contribute to our economy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do we have anybody to speak in opposition of the bill? I think everybody in the room was in support. We're looking online. All right, we don't have anybody online to testify. Delegate Belova, any last comments or?
Madam Chair, I just appreciate your consideration.
Okay, and there are no questions or comments from the committee. We operate on motion. It would have to be referred to appropriations. I have a motion to report and refer to appropriations. Do I have a second? And clerk, can we open the roll? Madam Clerk? Yeah. All right, reporting 6-1, that it reports and refers to appropriation. Thank you, Delegate Belova.
Madam Chair, thank you.
All right, next up we have HB 1959. Delegate Bennett Parker. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is House Bill 1959, and this bill would help to address our child care crisis by making a few changes to the child care subsidy waiting list. First, it would designate eligible child care workers who qualify for the child care subsidy as a priority group, so they are among the first to move off the waiting list. Many child care workers are eligible for the subsidy, but they may be stuck in the thousands deep wait list. This bill would support the retention of child care workers by helping them remain in the field when they start or expand their family, and may encourage recruitment into the field to receive this priority status as well. Massachusetts began doing this 2 years ago, and they found that it has provided a critical benefit for staff, helping to retain the sector's workforce. It is worth noting that many states go far beyond this step and are offering free child care to child care workers, which is a bill I introduced last year to have us follow the leads of states like Kentucky, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Iowa, Maine, and Arizona. But given that we are in the second year of our budget cycle and there's a large funding need, as we've heard, to address providing additional slots for the wait list, this year I'm bringing forward this bill, which does not require any funding from the budget to support our child care workforce. It also has VDOE provide updates to the Commission on early childhood care and education about the timeline and barriers for moving priority groups off the waiting list. As we've heard, parents cannot work if they do not have access to childcare that they can afford, and that is true of childcare workers. They are the workforce of the workforce, and by supporting childcare workers and other priority groups, we are investing in Virginia's children, families, and our economy. I want to thank Hopkins House, which is a provider in my district, who brought me last year's bill and worked with me on this year's bill. They support the bill, as does Child Care Aware, but they could not be with us this morning. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. Do we have any questions from any committee members? Okay. Do we have anybody here to speak in favor of the bill? Come on down. Welcome back.
Good morning. Allison Gilbreth, Voices for Virginia's Children. We support the bill and thank the patron for bringing it forward.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, Ryan O'Toole with Freedom Virginia, we support the bill.
Thank you very much. Anyone here to speak in opposition of the bill? Okay. Anybody online? Nope. All right. Any more comments or questions from the committee? Delegate Bennett Parker, last words.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I hope the subcommittee will support the bill.
Okay. And this bill would have to go to appropriations if reports. The committee does operate on motion. Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move to report and refer to appropriations.
I have a motion to report and refer to appropriations and a second. Madam Clerk, can we open the roll? All right, on a vote of 7-0, unanimously, it reports and refers to appropriations. Thank you, Delegate Bennett
Thank you,
Parker.
Madam Chair.
All right, now we have HB 1972. Delegate Gardner, welcome.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. I have a substitute.
Is the substitute released? Okay. Do I have a motion to? Motion to accept substitute. All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? All those opposed? All right, the substitute's before us. All right, Delegate Garner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To address the issue related to early childhood education in Virginia, a comprehensive legislative package should focus on expanding access, improving quality of early education programs, and supporting families and educators. This package, this package should include universally accessible voluntary pre-kindergarten programs to ensure that all Virginia children, regardless of income, have access to high-quality early childhood education. HB 1972 requires that the Commonwealth of Virginia shall provide universal access to all children ages 3 and 4. In addition, the program, kind of lost my train of thought here. The program shall be available in public schools, licensed child care centers, and community-based organizations. Universal pre-K helps to close the achievement gap and prepares children for academic success. Studies show that early childhood education leads to better outcomes in school readiness and long-term cognitive development. This legislation proposal aims to expand access to early childhood education, improve the quality of the program, and support families and educators, and create a more equitable system in Virginia. It is my hope that you will consider this bill for passage.
Thank you, Delegate Gardner. I do believe that with a substitute, it would not need to go to appropriations. Is that correct? Okay, so it would not need to go to appropriations if it reports. Is there anyone here or any questions from the committee? Okay. All right. Anyone here to speak in favor of the bill? In opposition of the bill? Anyone online? Nobody online. All right. Any comments from the committee? Okay, we operate on motion. Move to report substitute in a second. Okay, all right. Clerk, can you open the roll? Madam Clerk? All right, on a vote of 5-2, the bill reports with substitute. Thank you, Delegate Gardner.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members.
All right, Delegate Sewell, HB 1685. What do you prefer? I'm happy to sit right here. All right, you can do that.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The last bill before us is House Bill 1685. Last year, we passed House Bill 739 with unanimous support, and it was signed into law by the governor. And that bill sought to address the child care provider crisis for military families by allowing DoD licensed family child care providers to skip the duplicative and time-insensitive process of getting licensed by the state of Virginia on top of the more rigorous DoD licensure process. And by exempting these family child care providers already certified through the military service process, we were able to enhance the quality of life and economic security for both the providers and military families seeking child care. And at a time that we're making significant investments into expanding access, we were able to do so. This year's bill, House Bill 1685, is a technical correction to update Virginia's code to reflect the fact that Virginia cannot add additional requirements beyond what Congress has set. And it also creates a sunset provision for any of our providers operating under an exemption who are neither accredited nor participating in the QRIS, which will have the benefit of getting them accredited or into the QRIS program.
All right, thank you, Delegate Sewell. Do we have any questions from the committee?
My apologies. I have an amendment that provides exactly as I stated. We make known on line 45 that we will strike "that receives" and insert "for which the sole source of public funding is," just to add some additional clarity in the language.
Do I have a motion to accept that amendment? So moved. All right, a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. The amendments before us. Do we have anybody here to speak in favor of the bill? Thank you. Welcome.
Chad Stewart with the Virginia Education Association. We see this as a reasonable exemption that will just improve the offerings and flexibility for our child care services in the state. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have anyone here to speak in opposition of the bill? Is there anybody online? All right, there is no one online. Do we have any further comments or questions from the committee?
Madam Chair, motion.
Delegate Askew.
Move to report as substitute.
As amended?
As amended.
Second. All right, I have a motion to report as amended and a second. Madam Clerk, can you open the roll? Okay, that reports with amendment unanimously, 7-0. And we're going to go at ease for 1 minute. I'm going to call this meeting back to order. We have HB 2451, Delegate Glass. Delegate Glass.
Gratitude, Madam Chair. Before you, I'm going to be candid. I'm in a committee times two, and I just ran from one building, so I'm like, what? Here, there it is. House Bill 2451 is what I'm presenting before you today about a child care subsidy program. So here's the deal. Right now in the Commonwealth of Virginia, we have a situation where folks are on government assistance, and what happens is when we do the thing like raise the minimum wage, that 41 cents kicks them right off of their assistance. This is something that we tried to address last year with the dynamics benefits calculator of saying that if a person wants to take a raise, if they're on a subsidy and they want to get a new job, that we should not snatch that safety net from up under them. In working with DSS, what we found was that there was a need to sort of scale it down, and we want to pilot this idea with the child care subsidy, as this seemingly is the biggest thing at the forefront of folks' minds. So the goal here is to have you all create a calculator that if a person makes a little bit over that amount for them to be eligible for that benefit, that we go ahead and step them down until they can get their economic freedom off of that respective benefit. So this bill is an opportunity for us to start with child care, but maybe expand to food and expand to other opportunities so that we don't make it where people have to voluntarily be impoverished because they can't handle taking that raise or taking that good new job because that benefit is their life net.
Thank you, Delegate Glass. Are there any comments or actually are there any questions from the committee? Delegate Freitas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A question for the patron.
Yes, go ahead, Delegate Freitas.
So I'm just trying to look through this really quickly to make sure I understand it. What sort of, we're essentially setting up a process whereby an agency would determine eligibility for the program. So like, I guess what I'm trying to figure out is what are the parameters here that we're going to set up? Because if circumstances change significantly, that's one thing. But to your point, I'm very sympathetic to the idea that if you're going to have an assistance program, the idea that you would completely cut all of it up and disincentivize someone from taking a promotion or getting more pay doesn't make any sense. So what sort of parameters are in place to ensure that we're still targeting the people that we want, but we're not expanding an aid program to people that maybe don't need it anymore?
Delegate Glass.
So thank you, Madam Chair. And to the delegate, I would say you would already have to be, there's an eligibility requirement for the program. So we're not changing the dollar amount that someone is eligible. So if you have to if you make $40,000, you are eligible you're on the program. You can't make $41,000 and now say because you stair step, I'm eligible for the program. These are people that are working their way off, not creating a new bar to get people onto that assistance program.
Delegate Freitas.
Yeah, but I'm sure I understand that part. I think that makes sense. I guess what I'm trying to ascertain is, are there any additional parameters that we're utilizing? So let's say someone's eligible, they get a promotion, they're making $1,000 more a year. Mm-hmm. What is going to be the process for determining how much aid they still get versus what they no longer get as a result?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd say to the delegate, thank you for that clarity because I don't think I understand that question. That is what we're asking DSS to determine, is to establish a program, a benefits reduction program. So that's the point of this, is to get them in the mindset of thinking, how can we establish a program where we can actually stair step folks off? And that would be up to the department to make that determination of how that could look and what that would look like.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you, Delegate Freitas. Do we have anybody here to speak in favor of the bill? Any in opposition? Any online? Any comments or any more comments from the committee? Delegate Sewell.
Madam Chair, when the time's right, I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead, Delegate Sewell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to move and refer House Bill 2451 to appropriations. I think that this is a wonderful idea at a time when we are trying to provide financial certainty to so many of our families, whether we're talking about childcare or we're talking about economic relief during these tough times. And I think that this is a wonderful opportunity for individuals to continue to advance their careers while also having that support and easing into a period of grace for transitioning. So brilliant idea.
Thank you, Delegate Sewell. I have a motion to report and refer to appropriations and a second. Madam Clerk, can we open the roll? On a unanimous vote of 8-0, this bill reports and refers to appropriations. Thank you, Delegate Glass.
Gratitude. I thank you all for the time you gave me. Oh, yeah.
All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. All right, we are adjourned.